Welcome back to another episode of Ruby Jean Reads. I'm Ruby Jean, and I like to read. Today for the ABC Reading Challenge, we are going to be reading books T, U, and V. Starting with book T, honestly, it was really just between two books. So there's only one honorable mention, and that's because both of these books were recommended by subscribers. So I was really excited to do a subscriber recommended book, but then I had to choose between two, and that was really hard to do. The first one that unfortunately I will not be reading is, I believe it's called the Thursday Murder Club. It's like a book club where they solve murders or something like that. I've heard it's really cute and it's a fun murder mystery. The other one was also a murder mystery, but it wasn't a part of a series, which to me was really important. Which is why today we're going to be reading Tell Me What Really Happened. I am really excited about this book. I wanted something nice like fall vibes, and I feel like a murder mystery is the way to go. A bunch of friends go into the woods together, and all but one of them comes out, and they're all being really cagey about why. So to me, that sounds totally up my alley. Something just tells me that this is going to be a quick read. So I'm ready to just like read this book in its entirety tonight. Even if I have to stay up late, I'm 100% just like reading this whole book tonight. Alright, you guys know the drill. We're officially at that 25-ish% mark of Tell Me What Really Happened, and we still don't know what really happened. I'm just kidding, I know it's gonna be the big plot twist at the end, but I'm really enjoying this book. Let's talk about a couple things. First of all, I like to use this portion to give a spoiler-free pitch, if you will, as to what this book is about. First of all, the writing format of this book, I've never read one like it before, so it's been really cool. Every single chapter is a question asked by the interrogator, so this actually takes place after what the book is about has happened. It's 5 friends go into the woods together, and only 4 come back. All 4 of these people are being interrogated about the sequence of events, but what's wild is that you get to hear everything from 4 different perspectives. So it's kind of cool to see how everyone perceived the same moment and how differently everyone perceived it. And then there's definitely some parts where it's like, okay, a bunch of y'all's stories don't line up. So who's lying and why are they lying about that? I get that it can be confusing when you deal with like multiple POVs, especially when you don't necessarily know the characters because it's like your first time reading the book. But the author has a really, really fun way of uniquely portraying every single character with different writing styles. So you have one character that's a lot more anxious, and so she kind of rambles a lot. And then you have another one who's really type A and bossy. You have someone who's very timid and kind of beats around the bush. And then you have the hyper conspiracy theorist. So those are kind of the 4 personalities we're dealing with. And honestly, it's a very interesting dynamic. Also, every time that I think I know how this book is going to end, we get like more information about what happened that night. And so then my theories change. So I'm really excited to see like if I've guessed it up until this point. But then again, I'm only at 25% of the way through. So far, so good. I'm really enjoying it. I feel like we don't know much about the girl who went missing yet, but they're like starting to delve more into it. Like the questions are starting to be more like, tell us about your relationship with her. What did you think when she said this? Like blah, blah, blah. So yeah. Loving this book so far. Is it going to be a 5-star? I think it's too soon to tell. I feel like it has all the potential to be a 5-star. It's really just going to depend on like what happens next. Where to begin? I honestly was 100% sure that I knew how this was going to end. And what's crazy is that I'm only, like 75% of the way through the book. First of all, I'm really tired, which is why I cannot put together a cohesive thought. I predicted the ending and I ended up being right, but there's still 25% of this book left, which means that something else has to happen. And here's the thing, I have a couple ideas of what that could be, because there are still plot holes, I guess, and some things that don't exactly match up. Wow, I'm really loving this book. Honestly, I would be really surprised if I do not give this 5 stars. I'm dead tired and my eyes kind of hurt, and it's just about my bedtime, but I'm determined to finish this book. So I think I'm going to take this book to bed and read in bed until I finish, and then we'll call it a night. I'll tell you what book U is first, don't worry. Guys, What did I just read? Okay, I'm trying to form a coherent thought right now because I'm like delirious. I just want to say this book was amazing. Like, absolutely sucked in. Here's the issue though. I don't know how I feel about the ending. I don't know if I love it or I hate it. Like, it's one of those things where it was like predictable, but I'm actually really glad it was predictable because there was a time where I started to get really nervous. Like, oh, what if she's going to do like some super outlandish ending, you know? So like, I'm glad that it was realistic. Like, if you had told me this was based on a true story, I would 110% believe you. Like, I wouldn't even question it. Add it to the reading chart. Tell me what really happened. I'm really on the fence between 4 and 5 stars. Here's the thing though, I'm afraid this is gonna be one of those books that I'm like hyper obsessed with now, but like give it a couple months and I'm not gonna think about it a lot. And usually I like to think of 5 stars as books that are gonna sit with me for a really long time. But then there's also part of me that's like, okay, but the vibes were immaculate and I was reading for vibes. I was going for a good fall read and oh my goodness, this was a great fall read. Okay, I'm gonna take this out before I get kinks in my hair. Let's just say for now 5 stars, and I think I'll wait a couple days before I put my rating in Goodreads and I'll see if it's still a 5-star. All right, now as for book U. Okay, well, if I was ever considering another book at any point, I guess I didn't write it down on my list, but we're going to be reading The Unmaking of June Farrow. Or Farrow. All I know is that maybe there's time travel, so I guess I don't know anything. Maybe let's do some research. It's a short book too, which was kind of important to me. I kind of went through a bit of a reading slump and I was forcing myself to read through reading slumps, and I hope that wasn't too obvious in some of my recent videos, but I was really, really struggling. And I feel like now that I'm rereading the Harry Potter books and I'm on books like 5, 6, and 7 where they get more like adult, I'm like falling in love with reading again, which is really, really good. I feel like I needed that. Oh no way, this takes place in North Carolina. That's where my family's at. That's where I technically was before moving to Tennessee. A woman risks everything to end her family's centuries-old curse, solve her mother's disappearance, and find love in this mesmerizing novel. Are you kidding me? I'm sold. Listen, I want to start this book right now. Are you kidding me? I have to wait, and I do, because here's the thing. I know if I stay up super late reading right now, I'm going to be miserable and no fun for you tomorrow. So let's jump forward to tomorrow. I have some exciting plans for reading the first 25%, which involves brewing some coffee, reading in bed for a little bit, and then going on a walk and reading while I walk. And now I'm officially at the 25-ish% mark, probably a little bit more than that realistically. Honestly, I don't have much to say. Like, I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm not really sure how to articulate them. I'm sad to say things only really just picked up. Like, I only really feel like we just started what the main plot is, and the author spent the first like 20-ish% setting up the book, which typically I wouldn't have an issue with if it was like a series, but because it's one book and it's already like a shorter book, so the fact that so much of it was used to like set things up, kind of tiresome. Although I will say I might change my mind later, because sometimes if the plot is super complex, I can look back and be like, oh, you know what? Like, all that world building made sense. So we'll kind of see how I feel about that later. They were building up this huge plot twist, and yeah, technically it was a big plot twist, but I don't know, for some reason it didn't feel that grandiose to me. However, the plot twist only just happened, and I can tell it's going to change the whole trajectory of the story. So it's just a matter of how that's executed, I guess. I am conflicted. I don't know what's going wrong per se, because it's a good plot. It's a very original plot, if you ask me. At least I haven't read any books like this before. It's written well, and the main character isn't annoying. That's not really the situation either. But for some reason, I'm just not connecting with this book. Like, none of the plot twists have actually felt engaging to me. The descriptions don't make me feel transported to this place. I'm not connecting with the main character. I don't know, just something feels like it's missing. I don't know, I just feel like when you talk about family curses and time traveling and romance and all of that, I feel like it should be more exciting. And I guess I'm just surprised on how bland everything is coming across. I am very excited for book V. And I do need an exciting book right now, especially after this. So I am just going to keep reading, crank through this last 25%. And honestly, I really hope that there is like this crazy amazing ending, because I've heard so many good things about this book. And it's kind of funny. I'm almost like gaslighting myself into thinking this book is greater than it is. But in all reality, like, I'm just not vibing with it. And that's fine. That's not a reflection on how good the book is. It's just a reflection on me and the book's compatibility. So do not let anything that I'm saying dissuade you from reading this book. Although I did like the ending of this book, it did not, however, change my thoughts and feelings on this book. So let's add it to the chart, and we're gonna give it 3 stars. The next book, I think, is really going to keep me on my toes. This was also between 2 books. The one that I unfortunately will not be reading is The Veiled Kingdom. But then I was like, you know what? Halloween is a week away. So why would I read anything other than Verity by Colleen Hoover? I'll preface this right now. I don't like Colleen Hoover. I never have. I don't believe I ever will. And I have a lot of reasons for that I don't think I'll get into. However, I've heard so many people say that Verity is amazing. Also, I do not read thriller often. I'm a little horrified. I know nothing about the book. I'm like scared to start this, but I'm also kind of excited. I'm feeling like baking something. So we're gonna make my famous cowboy cookies. And by famous, I just mean that my family loves them and is always asking me to make them when I visit family. But I never actually make these cookies for myself at home. Well, let's make cookies and let's read. So I actually just hit the 30% mark without really realizing I passed the 25% mark, so I'm gonna stop now and we can talk now. If I were not reading this book for a vlog, I would have DNF'd it by now. Everyone is so disturbed. I honestly think this genre is not for me. Like, I love murder mysteries, and I even like a good murder mystery thriller. But like romance thriller, I think this is why I could never even read a dark romance. Like, I don't even want to, because I know I'm gonna hate it. So this book is about a author who writes thriller books. She hasn't really had like her successful book yet, you know, she's still kind of like a struggling author. And then a very famous author in the thriller space is in the middle of a series, but then she gets in a car accident and she's basically, I don't know what the medical term is for it, but she's just kind of like paralyzed and almost in a coma, but I think her eyes are open. Like, she can move her eyes, but she's just not there. Basically, the publishers don't want it to get out how bad her scenario is, and they want to finish the series. So the husband of the thriller author who got in this car accident has agreed to allow another author to finish writing her books. That's where our struggling artist comes into play, and she is selected to be the thriller writer who continues her book series and finishes it. I liked that plot. To me, that sounded really good. But then she has to like go to their like home because her office is like where all of her notes are, where everything that she had in mind for the series. And so she's gonna go to their place for a couple days and really just unpack everything that's in her office to try to find out how to write these next few books. Now, here's the thing. It's getting dark outside. It is pouring rain, and there's actually some thunder and lightning going on. Arguably the best possible real-life ambiance for reading a thriller. But if you're in my situation, where you hate thrillers and you're a scaredy cat, it's actually a very horrible scenario to be in. I'm going to keep cranking through this book, and hopefully it gets less disturbing. I doubt it, because literally that's the whole point of the genre. I just want to go to sleep. I'm so over this book. book. Okay, here's the thing. Does it read like a Colleen Hoover book? No, not in the slightest. Y'all were right about that. Turns out I just don't like anything she writes, despite the genre. Here's the thing. Usually, and if you watch my videos, you know this, I'm pretty good at predicting endings of books, even like the really outlandish endings. For the first time in a very, very long time, I have no inkling whatsoever of what's going to happen. That scares me. So here's the thing. It's late. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I could technically wake up early and finish this book, but I'm feeling stubborn and I want to finish it. It's a tricky thing because like I hate the book, but it's also interesting at the same time. I can't believe I'm saying that. So maybe it is going to be more like a 3-star. It depends on how it ends. Because like I really am thoroughly not enjoying the book. I wish I'd never read it and I wish I DNF'd it. But you know what? I'm reading it. So might as well just rip off the band-aid per se. I'm ready for this to be done. I'm just so excited that books W and X are going to be light, fluffy, and fun books. This has been a long day, guys. I woke up reading and I'm finishing the day reading. Listen, I don't know what I was expecting, but that was not it. Oh, wow. Are you concerned about mommy? Mommy's okay. You want to say hello? Oh. Sweet girl. Chin. Oh, that's a good chin. What? Can you tell mommy's in distress? Mommy is in distress. Obviously, if you've read the book, you know exactly why I'm freaking out. If you haven't, I'm not going to tell you what it is because this is spoiler free. But there's like the kind of endings that throw you, and then there's the kind of endings that throw you like Hulk throws Loki. Like that was insane. I still hated the book, but that ending was wild. It has been a lot of reading over the last day and a half, and I think I need to take like a week-long break from reading. While I'm recovering, I guess you should watch some of my other bookish challenge videos, or of course you should subscribe so that you can watch some of my other fun videos that I have. And guys, only 2 more episodes left of the ABC reading challenge. That's bonkers.